Little Word Around Town, Episode 2, a podcast dedicated to what's going on in Northwest Indiana. I'm Steve Jamrock with Realty Executives Premier, your host. And before we get started today, I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody who took the time to interact with last week's episode. That was my inaugural podcast. So whether you took the time to comment, subscribe, share, or just reach out with some kind words of encouragement, I greatly appreciate you. I really felt the love. And I'm dedicated to improving this podcast weekly. And in order to do that, I want to make sure that I'm bringing you the content that you want to hear and that you're interested in. So let me know what you want to talk about. I'm always open to suggestions. Leave them in the comments below or reach out to me directly. If this is your first time here, welcome and thanks for listening. I'd be honored if you took the time to hit that subscribe button. If you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up. And of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I do like to keep as interactive as possible. And please share this with anybody you know who may be interested in learning what's going on in Northwest Indiana. All right, quick rundown for episode 2. We're going to talk about our weekly real estate recap, talk about what's coming to Northwest Indiana. There's a couple of major investments coming to our region, and what's happening this weekend. We'll end it up with, there's a lot of great events going on in Northwest Indiana this weekend, so we'll do a quick rundown of what's going on there. All right, talking about our real estate recap for the week, I'm going to talk about interest rates today because that's kind of the hot topic right now. And before we get into interest rates, just a quick caveat, a little disclaimer here. When I start talking about numbers, those are averages. Any interest rates that you are quoted when getting pre-approved are going to be ultra specific to your financial situation. So whatever Jim and Debbie go and get pre-approved, their rate is probably going to be different than your rate because your financial situations are different. When getting pre-approved, they take into account your credit score, your income, your debt, the type of loan you're getting, the amount you're putting down, just to name a few things. So remember, it's very specific to you. If you have any questions or further details, again, reach out to me, leave a comment in the comment box below, or reach out to a local lender and discuss your situation one-on-one. All right, interest rates, are they finally falling? And the answer is, it looks like they are. We've been on a little bit of I guess we'll call it a roller coaster here for a while. With rates, we're kind of, they go up and then down a little bit, then up more, then down a little bit. And then over the last couple of weeks, they've slowly been trickling downward. And then at the end of last week, we had some really good news where rates finished the week at the lowest level in over a year. So the average rate on Friday was 6.29%. So that was really good news for both you buyers and sellers out there, because we have seen home buyers kind of pause a little bit here as prices kept going up and rates weren't where they kind of were liking them to be. But this is a good sign for everybody out there that rates may be starting to fall. Now, for the naysayers out there who are a little skeptical, like, man, Steve, we've heard this before. This economist or this expert has said this. Rates were only supposed to fall already. They're already supposed to be down. Yeah, you're right. We have heard this before. But here's what's given me optimism on rates possibly headed in the right direction for a long term. Talking to a couple of my lending partners here recently, they felt the same way, but they've been closely monitoring the bond market and the 10-year treasury, which mortgage rates monitor closely, and they're finally seeing some long-term stabilization in the bond market. For a while, it was really chaotic, up and down, people putting in money, taking out money, and now here lately, they're seeing that bond market stabilize a little bit. So that's kind of good news for rates, and they were optimistic that this might not be short-lived, that we may actually see these rates start coming down here ever so slowly. Where they're going to eventually get to, nobody has a crystal ball or knows how quick it's going to happen. Again, nobody has a crystal ball, but the words that I'm hearing out there, the optimism that I'm hearing, I should say, from a lot of people is that these rates may have finally hit that point that we may start seeing them fall to levels that would bring out a lot of people from the sidelines in our market. And now with that said, if the rates do start falling and people do start coming off the sidelines and start looking for homes again, what does that mean for you, the home buyer? It's going to mean more competition. So if you are out there right now thinking about purchasing a home, but you've been waiting for rates to fall and you're listening to this going, I think this might be the right time to do so, what should you do? Well, the first thing you should do is to make your budget, consult your budget, talk to your significant other, or, talk to your financial advisor if it's just you. But make sure that as you look at your budget, what you can afford, that it is the right time for you to make a move into the market. Once you do that, schedule a buyer consultation with a local trusted realtor. Hint, hint, I'm always available for you. By doing so, you're going to sit down, discuss your current situation, what your goals are, what your time frame is, discuss your home search, and most importantly, we're going to sit down and enter into that buyer agency representation agreement that you need now before you go looking at homes with a realtor. And why is it so important to do that is if rates do start coming down to these levels that a lot of people believe they're falling to, and more people start coming in, competition is going to increase. You're going to want to make sure that you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed prior to starting your home search. And that includes having a pre-approval in place as well. So I'm going to go ahead and leave a couple links below in the comments to a couple of my trusted lenders. You can reach out to them anytime. They'll be happy to help you out. You can reach out to me as well. I'll be glad to point you in the right direction. But again, schedule that home buyer consultation with your trusted realtor. Me and hint, of course, will be happy to do so. And of course, we'll go ahead and work on getting you pre-approved so you have everything ready to go as those rates dropped. And when you're ready to make that move into the market again, you have all your I's dotted, T's crossed, ready to go. And your chances of winning the house that you like increases tremendously. So again, check out for the links for my local lenders below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments or reach out to me directly. Be happy to just talk about those interest rates and everything else real estate related with you. All right, what's coming to Northwest Indiana? There's a couple, one big investment and one big development coming along here, and then an update to the Crown Point parking situation we'll talk to you here in a second. But the first is a major development coming to Northwest Indiana in Newton County. And this is a unique development I'm really excited about for all of you who have kids right now or are involved in youth sports in any way, shape, or form. You know that youth sports have just taken off over the last, probably 10, 15 years. And you also realize the amount of money you put into youth sports if you have kids and are participating in them. And they're a great economic boon to a lot of communities out there. So coming to Northwest Indiana in Newton County near Fair Oaks Farm is a new $98 million Marvella Sports Complex. And what makes this complex unique? It is dedicated primarily to the female athlete. So this is, I don't want to call it a one-of-a-kind, but a very unique youth sports complex, again, dedicated to a female athlete, and I think this is so cool. In reading about this development, they want to make sure that it's not only the elite that get to go out there and play, because a lot of times in these youth sports and some of these complexes, the elite teams dominate and get out there, but the Marvella Sports Complex, they want to make sure that all females, nobody gets left behind, everybody gets to participate out there and enjoy the sports, from softball to field hockey, lacrosse. Just going to be an amazing development and a positive to our Northwest Indiana community here. So that's going to be in Newton County off of I-65 near Fair Oaks Farm. That's going to be the Marvella Sports Complex. I hope to break ground later this year. I'll keep you posted as I receive updates on how quick that is moving along there. But again, Marvella Sports Complex dedicated to the female youth athlete out there. Awesome development. Look forward to that one greatly. All right, the next one is the Nippon Steel buying U.S. Steel. And again, I know it's a little bit controversial, and I'm not getting into the politics of it all today, but Nippon has pledged a $3 billion investment into U.S. Steel. And again, no matter how you feel about the Japanese company buying the American, U.S. Steel brand, when you're talking about a $3 billion investment into our local economy, that is huge. And for those of you who have been in Northwest Indiana their whole lives like me, you understand that how the steel mills go is how our economy goes. So the stronger steel mills, stronger jobs that we have in place, more economic stabilization at those mills, the better off our local economy is. It's a huge trickle-down effect throughout the region. So again, when you're talking about $3 billion reinvested into U.S. steel. I think that's a huge positive for our local communities. All right, let's jump over to Crown Point, where we've had a hot topic here over the last week and a half, and that is the downtown parking enforcement, 2-hour parking enforcement in the downtown area. And this has just been fun to follow on social media, as you always get people overreacting and spreading false information. And Crown Point parking has always just been a hot topic. It's really funny. I think Crown Point's done a great job with parking with what they have. There are a lot of public spots around the square that are within a short walking distance here. But the Crown Point downtown parking enforcement, it's always been in place. There's always been a 2-hour limit. They just haven't been able to effectively enforce it. And here they announced recently that starting yesterday on September 8th, there is a 2-hour parking limit on the square beginning Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So again, if you're going to be on the square longer than 2 hours, you're going to want to go ahead and find a free public spot, whether you're parking off at the library parking spot, a public parking spot. There's a public parking right across the street at the post office near Bulldog Park. You're going to want to make sure that you're parking off the square. Now, I don't know what Crown Point has done to all of a sudden effectively enforce it, but I can tell you that walking into my office today, which is on the square, there was definitely a lot more open spaces available as far as parking goes on the square than there usually is on a Tuesday. Now, why are they doing this? In talking to a lot of business owners, they feel that many of those spaces are being occupied by employees and or business owners themselves who work or own businesses on the square. So if you have somebody like Cafe Fresco or Sip or you want to run in for a quick lunch at Prime Steakhouse or Square Roots, a lot of those spots were taken up by people who are working there or going to be on the square all day. And by having those employees move off the square, it opens up for a lot more spots for people who just want to run in quickly. So I do think this is a positive. I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you think about the Crown Point parking situation. That should open up a big can of worms. But yeah, leave them in the comments below. I think this is great for a lot of our businesses here on the square. All right, what's happening here this weekend in Northwest Indiana? Let's start with this Thursday, September 11th, hometown happenings. Tim Feely does a great job with this one, honoring our first responders with the stair climb at the Lake County Fairgrounds. That's again this Thursday, September 11th, honoring the fallen from September 11th and our first responders. Also, September 11th, the car cruise is back at Bulldog Park, beginning around 4 o'clock. Friday, September 12th in Valparaiso, another Hometown Jams production of Gabby Barrett concert. Again, if you have not seen a Hometown Jams production yet, definitely get out there, check it out. Seeing these national acts in a small, intimate venue is really just an awesome experience. That's this Friday in Valparaiso Central Park, Gabby Barrett concert. Also, September 12th, if you're looking for a little more laid-back music situation, over at the Gabus Arboretum is the Prince Experience. That's obviously a tribute band to the late Prince. And Gabus Arboretum's a great, just one of my favorite spots here in Northwest Indiana to go to. I'll highlight that on a podcast for another day, but it's a great place to see a concert as well. So that's the Gabus Arboretum on Friday, September 12th. Check out the Prince Experience. September 13th, Saturday, down at Fair Oaks Farm is the Apple Fest. And also September 13th, back at Bulldog Park in Crown Point is the Crown Point Wine Fest. So a lot of great happenings here in Northwest Indiana this weekend. Make sure it's going to be a beautiful weekend too. So make sure you get out, support our local communities here. There's so much to do, so many great small local businesses. Get out, have fun, enjoy the weekend. Thanks again for watching. As always, if you have any questions, suggestions, or want to know what's going on, want me to talk about something here in Northwest Indiana, leave those in the comments. Please hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. Share this with anybody you know. Again, I'm Steve Jamrack with Realty Executives Premier. I greatly appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.